Hi, my name is Sunny and welcome to my channel Sunny Starlight. Hi, welcome to my channel. Before we start, please like, share and smash that subscribe button please, and don't forget to press that little bell icon which will go ding-a-ling-ling-ding with a notification every time I post a new video, so you'll be able to see it first. So today guys, I'm going to be reviewing the film Kedarnath, starring Sushant Singh Rajput and Sara Ali Khan, which I saw earlier today. So this is a fictional love story set with the backdrop of a real life event which occurred in 2013 in Uttarakhand, where the temple of Kedarnath is, and of course it was besieged by a flood and the township was destroyed with over thousands of people losing their lives. So this fictional love story is set between a Hindu girl played by Sara, and she falls in love with a Muslim boy named Mansoor, who is a bittu or a porter who takes pilgrims up to the temple through rocky terrains on his donkey or on his back in a carrying basket. Called Mukku, short for Mandakini, which is also the name of the river that runs through Kedarnath. And she's the daughter of a priest, as I said. The script is by Kanika Dillon and Abhishek Kapoor. Now, Kanika Dillon is best known recently for her script for Man Marzia, where she wrote this very powerful character of Rumi, which was supposed to be semi-autobiographical. So she is an expert at writing very feisty, very strong, independent women, and that's what she has done here with Sara Ali Khan's character. So you can clearly see where that writing has come from in terms of Sara's character. Without a doubt, this film belongs to Sara Ali Khan, who is a complete standout and a natural in this film. It doesn't look like this is her first film, and it looks like she's been doing it for years. But if this is the level of her acting in her first film, she can only just get better and better. As I said, Sara's the standout in this film, and she plays this very modern and feisty, independent and very naughty girl. She's using a mobile phone, she's on Facebook posting pictures, so she's quite a modern character. However, she's set in this very old-fashioned world and old-fashioned storytelling, so it kind of clashes there, because we find out early on that she's actually engaged to be married to a guy who is proposing to redevelop Kedarnath for unscrupulous reasons, and it's not very friendly to the ecosystem there. So she hates him, we hate him, and why she agreed to actually get married on her father's say-so when she's such a fiery, independent character, and she's trying to break off her engagement all the time. So I find that a bit of a dichotomy there. Sushant is also very good in what he does, because he plays a very opposite character to Sara, where she's boisterous and he's very shy, very laid back, and he's almost like a Pollyanna, a do-gooder who's always seeing the good in people, and he plays it very low-key, which is great because he doesn't over-dramatize in his scenes where he actually has a little bit of confrontation. So they both live in the same town, and they happen to meet one day over watching a cricket match in one of the TV shops, and suddenly sparks start to fly. There begins their little romance. And so what Sara does is she actually hires Sushant to take her to and from her uncle's shop a few miles away every day where she works. During these trips we see their love blossoming, and some very funny and touching moments where we see Sara just talking to Sushant through the donkey, and of course their courtship rituals, such as the ones that we've seen in the trailer, where she spills her tea and she decides to sort of take a sip and then pass it on. And of course the significance is that if two people, a couple, drink from the same glass, it means that they love each other. So she's trying to get him to fall in love with him, because she is pursuing him no matter what, and she will get her man. So that was quite funny and it's quite beautiful to watch. The chemistry between Sara and Sushant is very good. However, it just lacks that little bit of passion that we need, and I think the reason for that is that we just don't get enough conflict thrown in their love story. So we don't get that sort of like the huge romance that goes into trouble and goes off the rails. That I found lacking, although their chemistry is absolutely beautiful and they're just working towards a script. And because the script is written by two people, we can clearly see that Kanika has written the part for Sara and Abhishek has written some other plot points and possibly Sushant's character. But I wish they'd sort of merge the ideas together and come up with a little bit of a modern twist to it, because the story feels a little bit dated, but I like that because it's nice to get back to an good old-fashioned romance. So in a way I appreciate both, but they just needed to bridge that gap a little bit better so that we could actually find it a little bit more believable. So the film looks beautiful, but it does have its flaws. They did try to actually introduce a lot of subplots and some threads where they kind of sort of introduced them, but then they left them hanging and then they didn't tie them up or didn't explore them fully. So we have obviously Sara's fiance who's trying to rebuild Kedarnath for his own gain, and we see a little bit of conflict, a little bit of discussion about the ecosystem, but then it goes nowhere. So we're left with sort of untied threads. There's also in the beginning where Sara's a rebel going around cleaning up the valley because there are too many boards advertising hoardings, and she takes them down. Again, we don't see any part of that story later on. Then we see some guys in a tent by the river who are monitoring it, but we get introduced to them and then suddenly they disappear again. We also see a meteorologist very briefly, again not explored. We don't see enough of the army, which obviously played a great role in the actual floods, rescuing lots of people, where 4,000 odd people actually lost their lives and countless were missing. So we didn't see the army playing a huge part. The film also tends to go into some very old cliches because it's an old-fashioned romance. So I wish they tried to avoid those, but there were places where I thought, oh no, this could be a little bit different, this could be a little bit different. But unfortunately I was proved wrong and what I expected actually happened. So I just wish that they'd given it a fresh twist. So the film actually really kicks into top gear in the last 20 minutes or so when the floods occur. And that is the most exciting part of the film after the interval. And I feel that although the VFX was not very good, I mean it was passable, but if they'd spent a little bit more money then they could have achieved some really good effects, and then it would have been a little bit more believable. But it didn't take me out of the film whatsoever. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, and I know that the production has faced a lot of financial difficulties and a lot of issues, and hats off to Abhishek Kapoor for actually sticking with his original idea and to get this film onto screen. So well done to him. However, I feel a bigger budget would have actually helped slightly improve this storytelling. This film is only 2 hours long, and it didn't feel very long to me, especially when the intermission arrived. I thought, we're here already? So it didn't drag for me because I was enjoying the scenery and the love story that was blossoming between Sushant and Sara. I know a lot of people actually always complain about Indian films being too long and they want to reduce it down, but I feel that in this case it actually could have benefited the film if we'd extended it a little bit and had some tighter editing in other parts and finished off these tracks or explored them in some way. So coming on to the positives of the film, which I really liked, is of course Sara Ali Khan. Absolute natural, and she really just illuminates the screen. You cannot take your eyes off her. She's an absolute natural. Her dialogue delivery is just impeccable. You just don't want the camera to move away from her, and you could watch her all day long because she was such a natural. I was so grateful that they didn't actually make her Bollyfied. Any other Bollywood film director or producer would have actually dressed her up in a chiffon sari in the freezing cold and doing slow motion dances and waving their hair from side to side. So I was very glad that she was a very normal girl, down to earth, and she was allowed to be herself as opposed to being some kind of caricature of a Bollywood actress. However, I did find that it was a little bit funny that she was dressed in these very short sort of salwar kameez when it was actually snowing and it was freezing. So again, this is Bollywood for you. They like their actresses to look very pretty in the best clothes or even skimpier clothes, even no matter what the weather is. So yeah, I did find that a little bit hilarious. Secondly, the film is shot absolutely beautiful, and hats off to Abhishek Kapoor for actually going on location to Kedarnath, which is beautiful to look at. And the scenery was just breathtaking. The cinematography was absolutely breathtaking, and I could hear the two ladies next to me discussing, saying, "Doesn't it look beautiful? It almost makes you want to go there and visit," which is what I felt, because I felt like I was watching a picture postcard from this place, and so I enjoyed that, along with the track of their romance blossoming throughout this wonderful valley. So I quite liked that. The other plus point of this film was the actual music. I've reacted to most of the songs. Check out the links above. But the music was outstanding. It was beautiful. It was soothing. It was mellow. It was really nice to hear that music, which went perfectly well with the scenery. And of course the dulcet tones of Arijit Singh, which we haven't heard for a while. So the songs actually really stood out for me. Although I must say that the background music could have done with a little bit more oomph, especially in the dramatic scenes, and also somewhere where like they kiss for the first time, which you see in the trailer. And if it had this huge dramatic music in the background, it would have given that feel of an epic love story going on. And as I said, that this film just lacked a little bit of passion because there wasn't enough conflict, and it didn't make this love story into an extraordinary love story. So I think the music might have helped a little bit in terms of the background score. So in my final analysis, I would say that this is a beautiful but simple love story which could be enjoyed in this glorious location, but it could have done with a bigger budget and a little bit of a tighter script and a little bit of an update to modern times. But I found the film really enjoyable. Sara's next project, Simba, releases in 3 weeks' time, starring opposite Ranveer Singh and directed by Rohit Shetty. Now, I did give the trailer of Simba a 5-star because I enjoyed the trailer. So I've seen the original South Indian film Temper, which this is a remake of, and even though that film was good, I just find that it's not the kind of story that I expected from Simba, because I expected it to be a lot more fun, but it does get very heavy into this very serious subject of rape. So I'm not sure just how well that film will do, although I did enjoy the trailer. And I'm also worried that Sara will just be a token female and won't have much to do except sing songs and look extremely pretty. But if the film does well, then Sara has another hit chalked up against her name. And if it doesn't, Kedarnath will stand her in good stead as being her first film release. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing the journey of this bright young star and see where she leads us to, because I think she has a great deal to offer. I believe her next project is rumoured to be starring alongside with her dad. So if that happens, that is going to be some serious coup, and we're going to have some fun watching the two together, the father and daughter team. So my Sunny Star rating for this film is going to be 3, but I'm going to give it an extra star just for Sara Ali Khan, because she absolutely just stole this film. It was her launch pad and she did extremely well, so I'll give it an extra star. So my star rating would be 4 stars out of 5. And also I think the extra star comes for my appreciation of actors who go beyond their role. So in this case, you could see that Sushant actually lifted these people on his back, and so he put himself through that physical pain. And also Sara, because you see that scene in the trailer where she's actually being pushed down into the freezing cold water by her father, who's trying to wash away her sins, and that water was absolutely freezing, because it's not a hot climate up there. And when they shot that film, she has said in the interviews that it was absolutely freezing. So I actually respect and commend these actors who actually put themselves through these physical for their craft. So I think that extra star is well deserved for this film. And I look at these things when I'm watching a film, so I appreciate them a little bit more. So I would say this film is definitely worth a watch for its simplicity and its beautiful locations shot beautifully again. And it'll just transport you, and there are far worse things I can think of doing than to sit there with a bucket of popcorn watching this film and watching Sara just light up the screen, because you'll remember this as her very first film no matter what happens, because she's done such a fantastic job. Try and catch it if you can, guys, because I wasn't disappointed. I actually quite enjoyed it, as did many people in the reaction video that I did. So be sure to check that out for the UK public reaction that I actually filmed. So keep watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to push that bell icon, and keep watching until the next time. This is Sunny signing out.